Hi, Angie here from Crafts at Home. Welcome back to this video series where I'll be featuring the art of quilting from Shape Artworks. Hopefully you will have completed up to issue 24 and have everything stored flat for joining in later issues. With this issue we'll be making the windblown square block and you'll be receiving the paisley, lime gingham, pomegranate and Brighton fabrics. Before you begin, iron all of your fabric so it's nice and flat. It'll make it easier to work with and improve the overall finish of your quilt. Let's start marking and cutting. So as per the directions for the laying cutouts in the magazine, I've marked all my 4 fabrics. Now please, when you're doing this, make sure that the paisley and the Brighton, all of the spare fabric you keep for the next issue, because we will be needing that again. So I'm going to start by cutting out the Brighton, and you'll notice that I've done my square right in the corner because that's actually got a good centre for the pattern. So knowing that I need to keep as much fabric as possible, I'm going to start by cutting this bottom edge out. And then work up. Now because of the way that we need to keep as much, I'm not going to do the full length that I normally would. So I'm going to go from that corner up and out a little bit. And I'm going to do the same on this, but fold back that fabric so again put my square, the tip of the squares there, I'm going to put this so it's a little bit further so I know not to cut further on than that. And I'm going to do exactly the same on this edge, fold that fabric back and then cut. So I'm also making sure I line all of my grid up with my square so I've got a nice sharp square as well. So as you can see, I've got a nice lot of fabric now because I don't know what shapes are going to be used in the next issue. So I've got plenty there to work with. So I'm going to carry on cutting all of these out. I'm going to do exactly the same with this piece here, where I'm going to go up just a little bit further and then down so I've got the maximum fabric to keep, and I'll see you back here soon. So the first thing we need to do when making this churn dash centre is marking the sides of the pomegranates because we've got inset seams again. So I've done the first 3 already, but if you lie them so you've got straight sides there, the short straight sides there, the long straight side diagonally up. And then we're going to mark a 1/4 inch or a 6mm line all around the bottom edge and the 2 side edges. So just use your ruler, and I've got a 1/4 inch mark in here, so I'm lining it up, pressing down on the ruler and then just using my pencil to go along. I'm doing that on all 3 sides. and then it'll be set for when we want to do the inset seams. So now you've got that done on all four, I'll see you back here in a moment. So the way I've set all these out now is the long edge of the pomegranate diamond that I've marked out, I've set to the edge of the Brighton square. That way all of your edges will come together nicely when you're doing your inset seams. So the first thing you need to do is take one of your pomegranate diamonds and turn it over onto your Brighton. You can see there where the markings are. So then you line that up and pin twice along that edge. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Now I'll see you over at the sewing machine in a moment where we're going to be sewing them together. So we've got our first square here. Now it's important to know where you need to be sewing. So you've got a crossover on your lines here and you want to be sewing from that point where it crosses over. And then you've got a crossover on your lines here, and that's where you want to be sewing to. And that will make sure that you get all of your inset seams set really nice. So I'm going to lift up my needle and pull my stitch saver out a little bit. Then by hand I'm going to look to where this needle needs to go down into my points. If you need to, you can swivel once you've got your needle down, just to double check that it lines up really nicely on your line. So I'm now going to put my foot down, take my first pin out. Now you need to reinforce your seams, so go forward 5 stitches in this case, then go back and go 5 again, so it starts at the same point, and then sew on. Now I'm going to take that second pin out and then sew on to where these lines intersect again. If you need to, you can lift your foot again, and that is perfect on the line. So then I'm going to go back 5 and forward 5. There we go. So I'm just going to snip that stitch saver off to start with. Now to make sure that all these threads are nice and neat, just snip it off close to the fabric, because you've got that reinforcement, it's not going to unravel. So there's the first piece on, and I'll see you over at the ironing board in a moment to put the second one on. So now I've got that first one in with the reinforcement stitches on each side, we're going to get the second piece in. So you want to gently fold that one back and then take your next piece where you've got the 3 lines. You want to go on that middle one, which is the longer and across that seam. You will notice that where that line intersects should be on the seam that we've just sewn down here. So just make sure that that one's pulled back nicely, that you're matching nicely on that top seam. And then pick it all up together. I tend to pinch at this end first where I've got that folded back and pop a pin through that piece that I've folded back, so that's kept out of the way nicely. And then just be careful because we are working with a bias edge. So just pop a couple more pins in. Now we want to do exactly the same as we did before. So you go in with your needle where your two lines meet, do a few reinforcement stitches there, carry it all the way on until where the lines meet again, and do a few reinforcement stitches back from there. So we're going to carry this on now, and we're going to do this piece, and then we're also going to do the other two pieces on the other two sides in exactly the same way as I've just shown you. I'll see you back here when I've got them all on. So if everything's fallen in correctly, you should now have your 4 pieces of pomegranate onto your Brighton. That's the wrong side and that's the right side. So now you need to bring in your 4 smaller triangles of the lime gingham, and you'll notice that the markings that we made before on the pomegranate is where the seam lines are going to be for the lime gingham. So we're working at the moment with the wrong side up, so put the wrong side up for the lime. Then you want to work out where this goes. So just match your corner up there and bring down towards that edge there. So I'm going to turn it over and pin it on the pomegranate side. So I can see where the seam lines are. Then I'm just going to make sure that everything is lying out of the way. Everything is folded nicely. So when I come to sew and do the intersection there, where I'll strengthen my stitch again, everything is lying nice and flat and out of the way. So I'm just going to pop a second pin there. There we go. So I'm actually going to go and pin on the triangles on all 4 edges, and then I'll sew them all together, and I'll see you back here in a moment. So now we've got all 4 pieces of the lime green onto the pomegranate. You'll see they're all on, but we now need to turn them round for the inset seam. So if you take one, you need to lift up that and twist it round. So pick the corner up and twist it around onto that piece. And if you flip it over Just make sure that the next piece is out of the way, and then just stretch your seam out, making sure that you don't catch anything in it. And you want to pop a couple of pins in, just to secure that seam. And that's your first one pinned. Now I'm actually going to do one at a time and sew each one in between, just so I make sure that I don't catch anything more than I need to. So once I've got this one sewn here, we'll be going from the point down to the middle and then doing a couple of reinforcement stitches in the middle again. So from the outside to the inside with reinforcements. I'll see you back here when I've done all 4 of those inset seams. So as you can see now, I've inset the seams on all 4 of the lime green triangles. I'm just having a look, and each one's pretty spot on. There's little issue with that one. If I wanted to, I could unpick, but I'm not going to. And then on the reverse, as you can see, it's quite an interesting mixture. So we just want to start ironing everything away from the pomegranate diamonds. And then in towards the centre. We might get a few that don't want to fold over, just give them a steam in the press, and in time they will all ease down. And just keep going over the ones that you've already done, just to reinforce those folds. As you can see, it starts to look quite smart. There we are. I'm going to turn that over. I'm just going to double check that all of my seams are working out nicely. And there we are. That's the more difficult part of this block complete. So I'm going to pop that to the side for now. And then we're going to be bringing in our paisley and our lime green gingham. And you want to make sure that when you put it points together, it's paisley on the left and green on the right. The reason is when you put this one in, you want the lime gingham opposite each other. So you then want to fold over, match your corner in the middle, and pin along that seam. Just be careful, because again we are working with bias edges, so you don't want to overstretch your material. So that's that one done, and I've already done the other 3, so I'll see you back here in a moment when all of these are sewn. So we need to iron open our triangles once we've sewn them. So we just need to open them towards the lime gingham and have them nice and flat. So I'm going to move 2 out of the way to start with, and then bring in our centre square again. So you want to take your triangle, place it on the edge, and then flip in. Now the idea is where you sew your 5mm seam, it will match perfectly with that seam that's going diagonally there. So now I've got that set on, I'm going to pin the middle. And then pin out to the edges. Just make sure that all your other seams are still lying nice and flat. I'm going to pin to the other edge. And then I'm going to do the other side. So again, just offer up together and then flip over. I'm just going to flip round to pin and double check that seam. There we are. So I'm just going to go and sew these two opposite seams and I'll be back in a moment. So these are now sewn on, so we're just going to iron them open and out towards the triangles. There we go, and then it's time to add on the second two. So we'll do this exactly the same way as we did before. So we'll just match everything up and pin. There we go. I'll turn that around and do the other one. There we go. So while you're making these, don't forget to post your finished pictures onto the Crafts at Home page or the Art of Quilting page. We'll love to see what you've made. If you've got any ideas for how we can improve the videos or any differences, then please let us know. So I've just gone and pinned these two on now, and I'll see you back here for the last iron. So we've gone and done these last two seams now. I'm just going to iron those open again towards the triangle. And we finally get to see our finished block. Now the one thing I have noticed is where the large triangles join my middle block, I haven't quite got the point of that triangle in the centre, but as they're all the same on each side, I'm going to leave it like that and have it added in as my little quirk. So there we go, that is the finished windblown square. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video and the windblown square block that we've created. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you'll be notified of our new videos. Further information about crafts at home, the Crafts at Home forum, the art of quilting and hand-shape artworks can be found on the social media pages which are listed in the description. Don't forget to join us next week for issue 26, where we'll be making the notorious basket of flowers block again. Bye for now.